Thank you. When I was 18, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I call it fibro for short. It is an autoimmune condition and essentially means overactive nerves in your body that cause chronic pain 24/7. Along with that came symptoms of IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. I had chronic fatigue and poor circulation, as well as flare-ups. And that's basically the chronic pain times 10. My IBS was so bad that I had to go to urgent care where they gave me a laxative. And they told me that it was up to my chest. And that if the laxative didn't work, I would need emergency surgery. I didn't need, thankfully, the emergency surgery, but it was an extremely scary time for me. When I found this water, I was actually organic vegan for about 10 years, and I was drinking well water. So I thought, okay, this is the best water, it's from the earth, but I was still having health challenges. I got this water, I got this machine, and within an hour of drinking it, I was able to go to the bathroom. And since then, my IBS, I've never had again. My chronic fatigue is gone. My circulation is better, and I haven't had a flare-up ever since. And that's my story.
I love that. Yeah, definitely, you guys. You're hearing these stories, and no medical claims, okay? We can't make medical claims. These aren't medical claims. This is how powerful this water is to put your body back into a state of health. So as you guys are recording this, just know no medical claims, but we have a gift in our hands. And Michaela, you're next. I'd love to hear.
Hi guys, I'm Michaela. I'm part of Free Flow Co. Barry's my upline. So before I found the water, 4 years before I found the water actually, I started developing all these crazy food intolerances. It first started with avocados and bananas, so I thought I had an allergy to latex, which wasn't the case. And for the 4 years following, I would develop a new food intolerance, like monthly and then weekly. I fired my doctor. I got a naturopathic doctor, and the naturopathic had me do CT scans. I had a colonoscopy. I had ultrasounds. I had blood work, and nothing came back abnormal. So we did elimination diets, we did tinctures, acupuncture, everything you could think of, and then we started looking into my water. I upgraded from Brita to Costco filter, and then I started filling up at a local spring. I live close by a local spring, and that thing helped. It got to a point where I had eliminated everything I was reacting to, and went out to dinner, and I had like an iceberg lettuce plate, pretty much. And I reacted to it. And I was like, fuck this, sorry guys. And I called up Barry and bought the machine. I was like, take my money. And after 2 weeks of drinking Kangen water, I was able to reintroduce everything back into my diet. I haven't had a reaction since.
Solid. Thank y'all for having me. I'll tell you my story real brief. When I was 26, I started getting real sick, especially in the tummy department. I always have been a pretty healthy guy. My family has always been pretty healthy in the fact that, we never had a lot of soft drinks, never ate a lot of desserts, stuff like that. My family was always been pretty active. But out of the blue, I started getting real sick. I can't control myself and go to the bathroom. Going to the bathroom like 6 to 8 times a day. I'm like, what in tarnation's going on? So I tried to take the elimination route by cutting things out of my life and out of my diet to see if I could get better. Started trying to take, alternative or holistic routes to try to treat myself, but I kept getting worse. So I'm like, well, heck. So I went to go see a doctor. Finally started getting like blood work drawn, swabbing done, a couple of other procedures which were less than satisfactory done. But finally, they couldn't figure out what was going on. They thought I might have like a bacterial parasite because I had picked up one from a mission trip in the Dominican Republic, so I got put on broad spectrum, words are hard, antibiotics, which unfortunately wiped out everything in my gut. So the bad and the good got. So then I got even sicker. And then I started just having projectile amounts of blood when I would go to the bathroom. So my stomach got real distended. You couldn't even poke it because it was so painful. My skin would get these horrible lesions, like cystic acne on my face. It would never, be able to be clean. They would just leave horrible scarring and whatnot. So the epitome of misery. So and I couldn't control myself. So I literally had to go to work. Working on an ambulance like my friend Ryan, so if you get a call in the middle of a flare, you're in some trouble because you've gotten away from a bathroom, and you can't get away from a bathroom when you have what I eventually discovered was ulcerative colitis. So had to get a colonoscopy at 27, and as I came out of my Haldol-induced stupor, I woke up and my gastroenterologist says, "Mr. Foster, your colon is supposed to look like this. Yours is like this." So I was put on some medication for my UC, which helped a little bit, but it didn't really treat the source of my disease and the source of my misery. It just kind of treated the symptoms. So I kept getting sicker, had some accidents. We all love voiding ourselves at work. It's wonderful. So that's when I got fed up and I started looking for alternative methods. And finally, through the grapevine, my upline Delaney found me on Facebook through some friends at church who reached out and said, "Dude, tell me your story." And I was like, "Bro, I'm just at the end of my rope. I'm tired of being heckin' miserable. Tell me about this water." And so she let me come over to her house. And in 24 hours, she gave me 3 or 4 tall glasses, drink that now. So I started chugging the water at her house. She sent me home with 3 or 4 gallons in 24 hours. In a year and a half since I've been diagnosed, I had a normal experience. I went to the restroom, there was no pain. And I was able to get up and go to work. And I had no issues. I kept drinking the water. I was like, "Give me some more of this." And so I kept drinking more. It moved up to 9.5. I was like, now I gotta get a machine. So on August 31st of this year, I closed up my pill bottle. I put it in the cabinet and said, "God, never let me touch this again until I pour it down the toilet." Here it is, October 14th, and I haven't taken a single pill, and I don't have a single symptom of autoimmune disease. So
Life-changing, you guys.
What is up, Praise to Freedom? My name is Justin Crossberry. So just for a show of hands, who in here takes the UConn? Yes. Let's go. I take the UConn. Okay, so this story is for you guys. So 2018, I had my machine for 4 years, thanks to this tall guy who's been talking all weekend. And in 2018, I was working at my job and I was doing installs. And about 6 hours into it, I couldn't lift up my neck. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it looked like, I ended up injuring myself, but I had a 17 millimeter disc herniation. So it came out the back and it was going forward like this and then down. So if I was talking to you, I would have to talk to you like this. Colton's probably the only one that remembers this, and Chris. And so this is how I'd have conversations and going, shopping or anything like that. 10 out of 10 pain, couldn't sleep, couldn't lay down, couldn't sit up, nothing was working. This happened on the job, so workers' comp didn't want to pay for an MRI. But for about 4 months, my index finger and my thumb were completely numb. So after 4 months of seeing a doctor, chiropractor, did an MRI. So 4 months later, we did the MRI, and that's when we found out it was a 17 millimeter disc herniation. If you know anything about disc herniations, that's absolutely massive. My chiropractor actually didn't believe it until he saw the paperwork. And so I was struggling with neck pain. I didn't really want to take any medication. I'm just not about that. But at 10 out of 10 pain, I had to do something. I was driving up from San Diego to Orange County with a buddy who had the UConn. So I was like, let me try this. Because, at the time, I was like, oh, I got the water, I'm good, I'm young, I don't need the UConn, right? And so about 20 minutes into the ride, 4 months of not being able to lift up my head, I hit my buddy who's driving. I go, dude, check this out. And I look up, down, left, right. And mind you, I've only broken my thumb, and they wanted to fuse my C6, C7. So how they do that, they actually go through your throat and then fuse your vertebrae together. The problem with that is it puts pressure on the top and the bottom, and being 28 at the time, it's just going to have to be redone over and over again. So didn't have to get surgery, can move my neck totally fine, as you guys can see. So for all of those of you that raised your hands and you're drinking the water and not on the Ukon, get on it. We got the antioxidants with the water. You want the anti-inflammatory with the Ukon. And yeah, that's my story.
That's why we say, you guys, it's the true trifecta of health. You have the water machine, you have the Ukon, which is the herbaceutical turmeric, and then you have the Anespa, which is the mineral ion shower, the only one. So trifecta isn't just a business strategy, it's a strategy for your health. So thank you, Justin. I'd love to hear your testimony.
Okay, so my name is Ryan Jones. In January of 2022, I'm 37 years old now, by the way. In January 2022, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The way it happened, it started just like every other morning. I went into work, I built restaurants, I also work on multifamily. But long story short, we were starting a job that morning, and I went in, I could feel it on my right-hand side, my lower abdomen, and it started to hurt really, really bad, really, really quickly. And so I decided to drive myself to the hospital. At that time, it was Redlands Hospital. We were working in the Inland Empire, so it was Redlands Hospital, Redlands Community Hospital, the greatest hospital ever. You'll hear why. So after waiting 13 hours in the emergency room on a day that was their worst COVID day ever, 5 code blues and a bunch of other things happened. I finally was admitted after 13 hours in the emergency room. Luckily, I signed a paper they gave me saying that if I had any previous injury to the stomach or previous issues, and if they found anything in there that they can surgically work on it or take it out. Smartest thing I ever did in my life. When Dr. Yo went in and started to take out my appendix, he noticed that there was cancer spread everywhere. My appendix had exploded and spread cancer through my entire body. It metastasized to every single organ except for my heart and my brain. At that point, basically the only option was to go into chemo. They told me it was terminal and that I would not live. There's no chance of remission. There's no chance of anything because I was stage 4. Not only that, I had Lynch syndrome, which was a genetic modification. Okay, so at that point I go straight into surgery. I come out, I hear that I have cancer, I have 5 years or less to live. I was extremely healthy, I ran every day. I'm an avid hiker. I hike my family every day, every night. It's insane. So all of a sudden I have stage 4 cancer. I'm 36 years old. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. That night when I got diagnosed, I'm laying in the bed and I'm talking to God, and for the first time ever I told God something, instead of him telling me, and I said, you're gonna have to rip my soul from my body because I'm not leaving, man. I have a lot more to do on this earth. I have kids I cannot relate to, you know what I mean? And I decided I wasn't going to give up, so I was going to try everything it took, every single thing it took, every single thing you've ever heard or read in the internet on cancer, anybody's stories. I tried it, I did it. I'm still doing a lot of it. But I'm going to tell you a miraculous story about this water. So, I was a year into it. I had already stopped chemotherapy about 6 months into it. I had the port taken out of my chest. God was telling me immunotherapy. I had tests against my tumors done, and they had showed 3 genetic markers, which anybody knows anything about genetic markers, it was very rare. So I decided to trust in the immunotherapy, and I went for it. I pulled the port out of my chest. I hated that thing. It was the worst thing ever. I think they're having suits over it now. It was painful. It was nasty. But I was at the point where I had nothing left, and my scans were getting worse and worse. My cancer was actually spreading at that point to the bones in my back. And so it had metastasized the furthest it could into my bones from my prostate. It was looking really bleak at that point, so I went really all out. I had no money at the time because I was already fighting cancer. I had no money at the time. But I found a way, and I got the machine, and I actually got it through John Johnson, who's my upstream. He's an amazing dude. I've actually never met him in person until today. We met 7 years ago online. We've been Facebook friends forever. But a year into it, he sold me mine. Okay, and that was, a year and 9 months ago, this cancer journey started for me. So a year ago, he sold me the machine. I literally started getting better as far as scans, I'd say 3 weeks to a month and a half after I got the machine. 9 months later, you guys, 3 weeks ago, I just rang the bell for no cancer. They told me it was impossible, and it was not. During that time, I started an organization called www.hype4cure. We get cancer patients out into nature, because that's where I believe you heal the best, and that's where this water comes from. And I just want to thank Enagic for saving my life, and John Johnson for being there for me when I needed the machine. I also have the Nespa, get that, because it doesn't allow any chemicals in your body, and if you want to get all those toxins out, you got to get the Nespa too, and you got to just, I'm going to do the UConn, but I couldn't until I was done with immunotherapy, and I just got done with immunotherapy a month ago, so.
Wow. And just really quickly, if this water has affected your health in some way, shape, or form, can you please stand up in the audience? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Y'all, let's stand up. Let's all give ourselves a round of applause.